Ready to dive into some serious business tech? Today, we're tackling SAP S4HANA Finance. Yeah, it might sound a bit intimidating, but trust me, this system is the backbone of so many successful companies. We're going to unpack why.
It's true. And you know what? Even if you aren't a finance whiz, getting the basics can be a real game changer. Think about it. No matter what a business is selling, they need a solid system to track, well, everything. Money, resources, the whole shebang. That's where ERP comes in, enterprise resource planning.
Okay, so ERP is like the nervous system of a company, and S4HANA is like top tier in that world, right? But we're not going super broad today.
Exactly. We're zeroing in on S4HANA's finance module. Pretty crucial stuff, wouldn't you say? I mean, it's not an add-on, it's the foundation.
Yeah.
And to guide us, we're using this book, pasted text, gives a really hands-on view of implementing S4HANA.
One thing that caught my eye in this book is the Universal Journal. Sounds almost too good to be true. All your financial data, all in one place.
Game changer is right. Imagine no more spreadsheet hopping, trying to reconcile data from every corner of the company. The Universal Journal pulls it all together, right there in S4HANA. Real-time insights, reporting made easy, no more data discrepancies.
Okay, that's music to the ears of anyone who's ever had to deal with, like, conflicting numbers. But I'm guessing setting this Universal Journal up correctly is key, right? You can't just dump everything in and hope for the best.
You hit the nail on the head. That's what's so fascinating here. The implementation process is just as important as the tech itself. The book emphasizes this. Even if a company's all about sales, finance is still the bedrock. Everything flows into it. If that base is shaky, the whole thing's at risk.
It's like building a house, right? You could have all the fancy stuff inside, but a weak foundation, and it's all coming down eventually.
Precisely. That's why meticulous planning and knowing your business processes inside and out is essential. You need that clarity, that deep understanding of your financial data, where it comes from, how it moves, what you need to be tracking.
So it's not just about installing software, it's about really understanding the money flow and making the system reflect that, right? But how do you even begin to tackle something this big? Where do you start?
Well, the book suggests structuring your implementation around key process areas, like managing the general ledger, bank accounting, and so on. Think of those as the building blocks.
Okay, so break it down into manageable chunks, like chapters in a book. So what would be chapter 1 in our S4HANA story?
Chapter 1, you're defining your financial organizational structures. Things like your chart of accounts, which is basically a categorized list of all your financial accounts, how you're structuring fixed assets, that sort of thing. You're creating the framework.
So like establishing the language of your financial system before you can start speaking it. What's next?
Next up, financial global settings. These are the overarching rules, the parameters for your financial transactions. It's like setting up the rules of a board game. You're defining things like currencies, ledgers, tax codes, all that groundwork.
Laying the foundation, so to speak. Making sure everything's level before you start building up. Crucial to get this right.
Absolutely. If your global settings are off, you're going to have problems down the line. Like building a house on an uneven foundation, eventually things start to crack.
Okay, starting to see how important these early stages are. You're setting the stage for everything else.
Exactly. Once you have those structures and settings in place, you can move to the core of it all, general ledger accounting. That's where you're recording and managing all those daily transactions, invoices, expense reports, the whole 9 yards.
The rubber meets the road, so to speak.
Precisely. And S4HANA has some really powerful tools for this. Automated postings, real-time reports, powerful analytics, you name it.
So we've got the framework, the rules, and now we're tracking transactions. But businesses often need to get even more granular than that, right?
Right, you are. That's where accounting subledgers come in. They let you break things down further. Like you might have one for accounts payable, one for receivable, one for fixed assets, each giving you a more detailed look.
So if the general ledger is like a high-level map, the subledgers let you zoom in, see the details on the street level.
Exactly. And that detail is critical for things like cash flow, inventory, analyzing profitability, all that good stuff.
A lot of ground we're covering. But there's got to be one more key piece, managing bank accounts within S4HANA.
Ah, yes, bank accounting. That's where you're handling all your bank accounts, cash journals, electronic statements, all right there in the system.
Right, because even with the best system, if you don't know your cash position, you're in trouble.
No doubt. S4HANA makes it smooth, automating bank reconciliations, managing electronic payments, keeping tabs on your cash in real time.
Okay, so we've laid the groundwork, transactions are flowing, bank accounts are in check, sounds like a solid financial house, right? But S4HANA is also famous for being incredibly flexible.
And that's where things get really interesting. S/4HANA has all these powerful standard features, but most companies also need to build their own elements on top to meet their specific needs. We call these RICEFW objects: reports, interfaces, conversions, enhancements, forms, workflows.
Sounds super powerful, but doesn't all that customization make things more complicated? Upgrades and maintenance, I mean, could be a nightmare.
That's a great point. And you're right, customization can add complexity, but it's necessary complexity because no two businesses are exactly alike. RICEFW objects are all about tailoring S/4HANA to fit those unique requirements, like a bespoke suit, right? And to manage that complexity, well, you need the right tools.
So it's not just about having the flexibility, it's about having the right strategy, the right tools to manage it all.
You got it. And that's where we'll pick up in the next part of our dive. We'll break down these RICEFW objects, look at how companies can leverage them to create a truly tailored S/4HANA solution.
Already hooked. So we've got the S/4HANA finance foundations down, but now we're stepping into the custom world. Things are going to get even more interesting. Stick with us as we uncover how companies make S/4HANA their own.
Okay, so let's unpack these RICEFW objects, shall we? You're spot on. They're what make S/4HANA work for you, not the other way around.
You said it's like tailoring a suit. So where do we start taking those measurements for our system?
Well, we start with R. That's reports. They're essential for getting those meaningful insights from all that data in your system. Sure, S/4HANA has its own set of pre-built reports, but a lot of times companies need a very specific view of their finances.
Makes sense, especially for those in industries with like unique metrics or those complex supply chains. Can you give us an example?
Absolutely. Let's say you're a manufacturer, high-end bicycles. You're not just tracking the cost of each part, right? You've got labor hours for assembly, time spent in quality control. You need the granular view. A custom report can bring all that data together, and boom, you're calculating the true profitability of each bicycle model.
So it's about getting a report that speaks your business language. What about S interfaces? What makes them so important in this custom world?
Think of interfaces as the bridges connecting S/4HANA to your other systems. Like, say you have a separate warehouse management system, right? Tracking inventory levels in real time. An interface lets those systems talk to each other so your financial data is always current.
No more manual data entry, no more errors. It's like a constant flow of information between different parts of the business.
Exactly. And that integration is powerful stuff. Imagine connecting S/4HANA to, say, a predictive analytics tool. Now you're not just looking back, you're using that data to forecast trends, make better decisions for the future.
Talk about next-level business intelligence. Okay, on to C conversions. When does a company usually need to do this, convert their data?
Conversions usually come up when you're migrating from an old system to S/4HANA. Got to translate that existing data into a format the new system can understand. Think of it like translating a book, one language to another.
So it's not just moving data, it's making sure it's all structured, formatted the right way so S/4HANA can do its thing.
You got it. Can get pretty complex, especially if you're coming from a legacy system with lots of custom stuff, unique data structures.
Definitely sounds like having a skilled team of consultants would be crucial here, someone who's fluent in both those data languages.
Oh, absolutely. Data migration is no joke. Got to get it right for a smooth transition to S/4HANA.
All right, let's move to E's enhancements. What kind of extra powers can we give our system here?
Enhancements let you go beyond what comes standard with S/4HANA. Tailor it, really make it your own. Like, say your company has a very specific approval process for purchase orders, multiple departments involved, specific authorization levels.
I'm guessing a standard workflow probably wouldn't cut it there.
Nope. You could create a custom enhancement that adds extra fields to the purchase order screen, define the approval routing based on your rules, even trigger automatic notifications to everyone involved.
So it's like taking a basic car and tricking it out, making it your dream ride.
Exactly. Which brings us to F forms. This is about customizing those document layouts that S/4HANA generates.
Things like invoices, purchase orders, even those fancy bicycle spec sheets we talked about.
You got it. Instead of settling for the standard SAP layout, you can brand it up, add your logo, change fonts, colors, even include specific fields or calculations that matter to you.
Keeping it consistent, making sure your documents reflect your company style. And lastly, we've got W workflows. I'm guessing this is where we really get into automation, making things more efficient.
Right on. Workflows are all about automating those business processes within S/4HANA. Let's stick with expense reports, for example. A standard workflow could route that report automatically to the right manager for approval. based on the employee's department, the amount being claimed.
No more chasing signatures, no more paper trails. It's all automated and streamlined. All these RICEFW objects sound incredibly powerful. But with all these customization possibilities, how do you manage the complexity? It feels like it could get out of hand.
Yeah, you're not wrong. This is where a good understanding of S/4HANA's capabilities is key. But also, having the right tools to guide you. That's where SAP Solution Manager comes in.
Now, some folks say Solution Manager can be a bit overly complex itself. Is that fair?
It's true. Solution Manager is a powerful tool. And like any powerful tool, it can feel complex if you don't know how to use it right. But it's meant to be the control center for your S/4HANA implementation. It helps you manage everything, requirements, testing, deployment, the whole shebang.
Okay, so like a sophisticated toolbox. Got to know which tool for which job.
Right.
What are some key Solution Manager features that make it so essential for managing these RICEFW objects?
One of the best things is its ability to create a detailed blueprint of your entire system. That blueprint becomes your single source of truth for the whole implementation. It outlines all your custom stuff, reports, workflows, everything.
Like a detailed map of your S/4HANA landscape shows you all the roads and bridges you've built.
Exactly. And it also has tools to manage the development and testing of those RICEFW objects. Make sure your customizations are done right, that they don't break anything else.
You wouldn't want a custom report to accidentally crash your entire financial system.
Not at all. You got to make sure your customizations are tested, validated, before you unleash them on the live system. Solution Manager gives you the framework, the tools to do just that.
Okay, starting to see how Solution Manager can be a real lifesaver for all these RICEFW objects, but it does sound like you need some know-how to use it effectively.
You're right. It's not something you just pick up and use without some training and guidance. But when used correctly, it's invaluable for a smooth and successful S/4HANA implementation.
So we've gone deep on RICEFW. We've seen how they let companies personalize their systems, and we've acknowledged the potential complexity.
And that's why tools like Solution Manager are so crucial for navigating that complexity. They give you that structure, that guidance, that support you need to make good decisions, maximize that S/4HANA investment.
Okay, so we've got our customized S/4HANA system all built out. But what does it actually mean for a business in the long run? How do all these technical details translate into real-world benefits? That's what we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive. Okay, so we've explored the foundation of S/4HANA Finance, seen how companies can really make it their own with those RICEFW objects. But now let's talk about why this all matters. How does it all impact a business's bottom line?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, technology, it's only as good as what it helps you actually do.
Yeah.
S/4HANA Finance, it's not just about number crunching. It's about making smarter decisions faster.
Okay, you've got my attention. But for someone who might be new to all this, how does that happen? What are the real-world benefits, the things you can actually see and feel?
Well, think about efficiency, for starters. Imagine a world where all your financial processes are streamlined, you've got automation doing the heavy lifting, and you're seeing your financial performance in real time. That's what S/4HANA Finance brings to the table.
So less time on tedious tasks, more time for strategy, analysis. Sounds pretty good to me.
And it's not just about saving time, it's about reducing those costly errors. When you take out manual data entry, automate those processes, you're minimizing the risk of human mistakes, which can make a big difference in your financial accuracy.
Makes sense. But beyond efficiency, you mentioned better decision-making. How does S/4HANA play a role there?
Okay, so let's say you're a CEO and you're thinking about investing in a whole new product line. Big decision, right? With S/4HANA, you can run simulations, what-if scenarios to really understand the potential financial impact. You can analyze all these different variables, test assumptions, and make a much more informed choice.
So like having a financial crystal ball, you can see the potential outcomes before you make the leap. That's powerful stuff.
It is. And it's not just for those big strategic decisions either. Think about day-to-day operations. Let's say you're a production manager and you're trying to figure out which supplier to go with for a specific part. S/4HANA lets you quickly compare prices, lead times, even track the quality performance of different suppliers so you can choose what's best for your business.
It's about having the right information right when you need it to make those informed decisions at every level of the company.
Exactly. And that leads us to another big win, better reporting. With S/4HANA, you've got a single source of truth for all your financial data. That means accurate, consistent reports across the entire organization.
No more trying to reconcile numbers from different systems, trying to figure out what's actually right.
Exactly. Real-time reports on everything, cash flow, profitability by product line, you name it. You get a clear, accurate picture of your financial health.
Okay, it sounds like S/4HANA Finance is a game changer. But let's be real. There have got to be some challenges, some potential pitfalls that companies should be aware of.
You're right, no system is perfect. One of the biggest hurdles is often that change management piece. Implementing S/4HANA, it requires a new way of thinking, new processes. That can be a tough adjustment for some folks.
People can be resistant to change, especially when it comes to something as important as their financial systems. How do you overcome that?
Communication is key. You've got to explain the benefits clearly, address those concerns, and provide the training and support people need to make that transition. It's also important to involve them in the process, make them feel like they're part of the change, not just having it forced on them.
So it's not just a technical implementation, it's about bringing everyone along on the journey.
Absolutely. And another potential challenge is that data migration piece we talked about earlier. Moving all that data from an old system to S/4HANA, it can be complex, time-consuming. Having a solid plan and those experienced consultants to guide you is critical.
It's like translating a book into a new language. Got to make sure you're getting every detail right.
Exactly. And then there's the customization challenge. While all that flexibility with RICEFW is great, it can get messy if you don't manage it properly.
Yeah.
Understanding your needs clearly, documenting those customizations, testing everything thoroughly, that's how you avoid problems down the line.
It's finding that balance, tailoring the system without making it too complex to maintain.
Exactly. Implementing S/4HANA Finance, it's a journey. There'll be bumps in the road, that's for sure. But with careful planning, the right expertise, and that commitment to change, you can overcome those challenges and really reap the benefits S/4HANA has to offer.
This has been a truly insightful deep dive into the world of S/4HANA Finance. We've explored those core components, seen the power of customization, and learned about the impact it can have on businesses. What's the one key takeaway you would leave our listeners with today?
I'd say this, S/4HANA Finance, it's not just a software upgrade, it's a strategic investment in your business's future. It's a chance to transform your financial operations, get those real-time insights, make better decisions, and ultimately drive more value for your business.
That's a powerful thought. So, for our listeners who are ready to embark on their own S/4HANA journey, what's the best way to get started?
First things first, do your research. There's a ton of info out there. White papers, case studies, even online communities where you can connect with other S/4HANA users. And don't be afraid to reach out to the experts. Find a good consulting firm that specializes in S/4HANA Finance. They can really guide you through the process.
And don't be shy about asking questions. This is complex stuff. There's no shame in needing help and advice along the way.
Absolutely. The more you know about S/4HANA Finance, the better equipped you'll be to make those smart decisions and get the most out of this incredibly powerful tool.
Great advice. And on that note, a big thank you to our expert guest for sharing your knowledge and insights with us today. It's been a pleasure having you on the deep dive.
The pleasure was mine. Always happy to talk about S/4HANA Finance, and I hope our conversation has been helpful for your listeners.
And to all our listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of S/4HANA Finance. We hope you've learned a lot and are feeling ready to take your financial operations to the next level. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.